The transport ship landed with a heavy sound on the metal platform. Steam came out from the bottom of the ship. The doors opened slowly, stepped out and looked around at her new world. The Galactic Combat Academy was bigger than anything she had ever seen. The buildings were tall and made of dark metal. Lights of many colors moved across the walls. Ships flew above in the purple sky. Strange sounds filled the air. It was nothing like Earth. Was 23 years old. She was not tall, she was not big. Her black hair was tied back in a simple way. She wore old military clothes that had been used many times before. On her back she carried a long case. It was worn and scratched. The leather was old, but she held it carefully like it was the most important thing in the world. Other recruits walked around her. Most of them were not human. They were from different planets across the galaxy. Some were very tall, more than 2 meters high. Some had blue skin. Some had 4 arms. Some had scales like fish. They all looked strong and powerful. They were the biggest group. They came from a warrior planet called Prime. Their skin was gray and thick like stone. Their eyes were yellow. They stood almost 3 meters tall. Every looked like they could break a human in half with one hand. Walked toward the registration building. She kept her eyes forward. She did not look at the aliens around her. She did not want trouble on her first day. But trouble found her anyway. A group of recruits stood near the main entrance. There were 5 of them. They were laughing and talking loudly. When they saw, they stopped. Their yellow eyes looked at her small body. Then they looked at the case on her back. "Look at this," one of them said. His voice was deep and rough. "A human. They are letting humans join the academy now." The other laughed. It was not a nice laugh. It was the kind of laugh that meant they thought she was a joke. Kept walking. She did not stop. She did not look at them. "Hey, little creature," they said again. He stepped in front of her, blocking her path. He was so big that he blocked the light. "I am talking to you. Do humans not have manners?" Looked up at him. Her face showed nothing. No fear, no anger, just calm like still water. "I heard you," she said. Her voice was quiet but clear. "I just have nothing to say." The eyes became narrow. He did not like her answer. "What is in that case? Is that your weapon?" "Yes," said. "Show me." Did not move. "No." The other made sounds of surprise. No one said no to they were the strongest warriors in the galaxy. Everyone knew this. Everyone was afraid of them. But this small human woman just said no. The big leaned down. His face came close to hers. His breath was hot and smelled strange. "I said show me your weapon, human, or I will take it from you." Looked into his yellow eyes. She did not step back. She did not look away. "If you touch my weapon," she said slowly, "you will lose your hand. This is not a threat. This is just a fact." For a moment nobody moved. His face changed. He was trying to decide if she was crazy or brave. Then he laughed. It was a loud, ugly laugh. "This human thinks she is dangerous," he said to his friends. They all laughed together. "Fine, little creature. Keep your toy. I will see you in training. We will see how dangerous you are then." He moved out of her way, walked past him without another word. She could feel their eyes on her back as she entered the building. She could hear them still laughing. Inside, the building was full of more recruits. They were all waiting in lines, found the right line and waited. An officer sat behind a desk. He looked bored. When it was her turn, stepped forward. She gave him her documents. He looked at them. Then he looked at her. Then he looked at the documents again. "Human," he said, "soldier class, weapon specialty." He made a strange sound. It might have been a laugh. "What is your weapon?" "Rifle," said. "What kind?" "Long-range precision rifle." The officer looked at her case. "Is that it, that old thing?" "Yes." He typed something into his computer. "Humans and their projectile weapons," he said, shaking his head. "We have energy weapons now, plasma guns, laser rifles, things that actually work, but you bring a museum piece." Said nothing, she just waited. The officer gave her a card. Barracks 7. Training starts tomorrow at first light. Try not to die on the first day. He waved his hand. Next. Took her card and walked away. She found Barracks 7 after asking for directions twice. It was a long building with many beds. Most of the beds were already taken by other recruits. She found an empty one in the corner, far from everyone else. She sat down on the bed. It was hard and uncomfortable. She did not care. She had slept on worse. Slowly she put her case on the bed. She opened it. Inside was her rifle. It was old. The metal was scratched and worn. The wooden parts were dark from years of oil and use. There were cloth wrappings around some parts. The scope was not new. There were small marks and scratches on everything. But every part was clean. Every part was in perfect order. The barrel was smooth inside. The trigger moved perfectly. The scope was clear as fresh water. This rifle had belonged to her grandfather. He had been a soldier on Earth. He had taught her everything: how to shoot, how to breathe, how to wait, how to become invisible, how to take one shot and make it count. He was dead now, but his rifle was still here, and so was everything he taught her. Closed the case. She lay down on the hard bed. Around her, other recruits were talking and laughing. Some were already forming groups, friends, teams. She was alone. But she was used to being alone. Tomorrow, training would begin. Tomorrow, they would all find out what she could do, or maybe they would not. Maybe she would stay quiet and small and invisible. That was what she was good at. She closed her eyes. In her mind, she could see her grandfather's face. She could hear his voice. "The best shot is the one nobody sees coming," he used to say. "Be patient, be still, wait for the moment, and when it comes, do not miss." She would not miss. She never missed. The lights in the barracks slowly went dark. The talking stopped. Everyone slept. Lay awake for a long time, thinking about tomorrow. Then finally she slept too. Outside, the purple sky of the alien world turned slowly to black. Stars appeared. Somewhere far away, Earth was spinning in the darkness. Her home, her past. She would probably never see it again. But that was okay. She had her rifle. She had her training. She had her grandfather's voice in her mind. That was enough. That would always be enough. Tomorrow would come, and she would be ready. The morning came too fast. A loud sound filled the barracks. It was an alarm. Everyone had to wake up and get ready, was already awake. She had been awake for an hour. She was sitting on her bed, cleaning her rifle with a small cloth. Other recruits moved around her. They were tired and slow. Some of them looked at her and her rifle. They said nothing, but their faces showed what they thought. Another stupid human with an old gun. Did not care what they thought. She finished cleaning her rifle and put it back in its case. Then she got dressed in her training uniform and went outside. The training ground was huge. It was flat and gray, made of some kind of metal. Hundreds of recruits stood in lines. Officers walked between them, shouting orders. The sky above was still dark purple. The sun of this planet was small and red. Found her place in line. She was in the same group as the from yesterday. The big one who had tried to scare her was there. His name was. She had learned this from hearing others talk. He was from an important family. His father was a general. Everyone expected him to be the best in the academy. Saw her too, he smiled. It was not a nice smile. He said something to his friends. They all looked at her and laughed. Ignored them. She stood straight and waited. The first part of training was running. They had to run around the training ground 10 times, the finished first. Their long legs made running easy, finished somewhere in the middle, not first, not last, just average. The second part was hand-to-hand combat practice. Recruits were put into pairs, was paired with a species with 4 arms and green skin. That was bigger than her but not as big as a. Try not to break, the said. He sounded bored. They fought. That was fast with his 4 arms, but was faster. She moved around him, never staying in one place. She hit him in soft spots under the arms, behind the knees, the neck. In 2 minutes, the was on the ground. The training officer marked something on his pad. He did not look impressed. He just moved on to the next pair. "Help the stand up. Good fight," she said. The looked at her with surprise, then he nodded. "You are fast for a human, my name is." They did not become friends, but they were not enemies either. That was good enough. The third part of training was the equipment inspection. This was what had been waiting for, or rather, this was what she had been dreading. All recruits had to show their weapons to the training officers. The officers would check if the weapons were in good condition. They would also rate them. Better weapons meant better ratings. Better ratings meant better positions in the academy. The recruits lined up. One by one, they stepped forward and showed their weapons. Most aliens had energy weapons, plasma rifles, laser guns. Some had weapons that did not even recognize. They glowed with strange lights. They made humming sounds. They looked powerful and new. Then it was turn. She stepped forward. She put her case on the table. She opened it. The training officer looked inside. He was older than the recruits, with gray marks on his face. His name was Commander. He was known for being hard and fair. Commander looked at his rifle for a long time. Then he looked at her. "What is this?" "My rifle, sir." "I can see that. I mean, what is this supposed to be? A weapon or a piece of history?" Some recruits behind her laughed, Heard's voice above the others. "It is a long-range precision rifle," said. Her voice was calm. "Earth design, modified for extended range and accuracy." Commander picked up the rifle. He looked at it from different angles. He touched the cloth wrappings. He looked through the old scope. "Modified, it looks like it was put together from garbage." More laughter. "The barrel has been hand-filed to reduce drag," said. "The scope has been personally calibrated for my eyes. The trigger has been adjusted to exactly 1.3 kilograms of pull pressure. The stock has been shaped to fit my body perfectly." Commander raised one eyebrow. "And the cloth, is that for decoration?" "No, sir. The cloth reduces heat signature and prevents light reflection. It also provides grip in wet conditions." Commander put the rifle down. He typed something into his pad. "Your weapon has been rated, Class D lowest rating." He pushed the case toward her. "Next." Took her rifle and stepped back. Her face showed nothing. But inside she felt a small fire burning. Class D the lowest. They thought her rifle was garbage. As she walked back to her place, stepped in front of her, he was grinning. "Class D," he said loudly. "The human brought a toy to a real fight." "At least I brought my own weapon," said. "I heard recruits get their weapons from their families. Must be nice to have everything given to you." His grin disappeared. His yellow eyes became hard. "What did you say to me?" "You heard me." Other recruits watched them. Even Commander was looking. But he did not stop them. The academy believed in letting recruits solve their own problems. Stepped closer. He was so tall that had to look almost straight up to see his face. "My weapon is the best plasma rifle in the galaxy. It was made by the finest craftsmen on Prime. It costs more than your entire planet." "And yet you did not make it yourself," said. "You did not earn it. You just received it because of who your father is." His hand moved fast. He grabbed his rifle case. "Let me see this garbage again. Maybe I should show everyone what human weapons really are." He opened the case and pulled out the rifle. He held it up for everyone to see. "Look at this," he laughed. "Wood and metal like something from a museum. No energy cells, no targeting computer, no auto-aim, just nothing." The other laughed with him. So did some other aliens. They thought it was funny, the little human with her primitive weapon. Turned the rifle around in his hands. He was not being careful. He touched the scope. He put his fingers on the barrel. He handled it like it was trash. Watched, her face was stone, but her hands were making fists at her sides. "I do not understand how this works," said. Where is the power source? Where is the trigger computer? There is no computer, said. The shooter is the computer. Laughed again. The shooter is the computer. What does that mean? You aim with your eyes, you calculate distance with your brain. That is so primitive. Yes, said. That is exactly what it means. Shook his head. He threw the rifle back to her. She caught it carefully. She checked it immediately to make sure nothing was damaged. Humans, said, you should have stayed on your little planet. You do not belong here. You do not belong in the stars. He turned and walked away. His friends followed him. Stood alone. The other recruits slowly went back to their own things. Nobody talked to her. Nobody looked at her. She was just the strange human with the worthless gun. She put her rifle back in its case. She closed it carefully. Then she carried it back to the barracks. She sat on her bed and opened the case again. She looked at her rifle for a long time. Her grandfather's voice came to her again. They will always underestimate you, he had said once. They will look at your size and think you are weak. They will look at your equipment and think you are poor. They will look at your quiet face and think you are stupid. Let them think these things. Let them believe what they want to believe. And when the moment comes, show them what you really are. Touched the old wood of her rifle. It was warm under her fingers. She could feel the history in it. The years, the shots, the lives it had saved, the lives it had taken. Had the best plasma rifle in the galaxy. He had money and power and size and strength. He had everything. But he did not have what she had. She had patience. She had skill. She had years of training. She had the knowledge that her grandfather had given her, shot by shot, breath by breath. And most of all, she had something to prove. The training would continue tomorrow. There would be more tests, more chances to show what she could do. She just had to wait for the right moment. She was good at waiting. She had been waiting her whole life. 3 weeks passed at the academy, trained every day like everyone else. She ran, she fought. She learned about alien tactics and galactic warfare. She was never the best in any test. She was never the worst either. She stayed in the middle, quiet and invisible. They continued to mock her, told everyone about the human with the garbage rifle. Some aliens laughed at her. Others ignored her completely. A few, like they, treated her with basic respect, but nobody thought she was special. Nobody expected anything from her. That was fine, did not need their expectations. She just needed time. Every night after training was finished, she went to the small practice range behind the barracks. It was an old range that nobody used anymore. The targets were simple. The lights were bad, but it was quiet and empty. There, alone in the darkness, she practiced. She shot at targets at different distances. She adjusted her breathing. She worked on her timing. She tested her rifle in different conditions, hot and cold, dry and wet. She learned how it behaved in this alien atmosphere which was different from Earth. The gravity here was slightly stronger than Earth. The air was thicker. There was more dust in the wind. All of these things affected the bullet. She had to learn new calculations, new numbers, new feelings. After 3 weeks, she was ready, or as ready as she would ever be. On the morning of the range test, the sky was dark gray. A storm was coming. The wind was strong and unpredictable, bad conditions for shooting. All recruits gathered at the main firing range. It was a massive area, bigger than 10 football fields put together. Holographic targets could appear at any distance. Sensors measured every shot with perfect accuracy. Commander stood at the front. Behind him stood several other officers. Among them was someone had not seen before. He was older than the others. His gray skin had many marks and scars. His left arm was missing below the elbow. In its place was a mechanical arm made of dark metal. His eyes were not yellow like other. They were white like clouds with small black centers. "That is head instructor," whispered two. They were standing near each other in line. "He does not come to many tests. He must think this one is important." Looked at instructor. He looked back at her for a moment. His white eyes showed nothing. Then he looked away. Commander began speaking. Today is the range test. You will be tested on your shooting accuracy. The test has 3 parts. He pointed to the range. Part 1, standard targets at 100 meters. You have 30 seconds for 5 shots. Part 2, moving targets at 500 meters. You have 60 seconds for 5 shots. Part 3, he paused. Part 3 is special this year. The recruits whispered to each other. A special test was unusual. Part 3 will test your ability to shoot under extreme conditions, Commander continued. The target will be placed at 4.7 kilometers. It will be moving. You will have only 60 seconds. The atmospheric conditions will be challenging. More whispers. 4.7 kilometers was an incredible distance. Most weapons could not even reach that far. Even the ones that could would be wildly inaccurate. This test is designed to challenge the best shooters in the galaxy, Commander said. We do not expect anyone to pass. We just want to see how you handle impossible situations. Now, let us begin. Part 1 was easy. Targets at 100 meters. Every recruit hit most of their shots. Got 5 perfect hits. So did several other. Got 5 perfect hits too, but nobody noticed. They were watching the... Part 2 was harder. Moving targets at 500 meters. The wind made things difficult. Some recruits missed badly. Others did well, got 4 out of 5. He was the highest score so far. Stepped up to the shooting position. She opened her case and took out her rifle. Some aliens laughed quietly when they saw it. The same old rifle. The same old joke. She lay down on the ground. She put the rifle to her shoulder. She looked through the scope. The first target appeared. It was moving left to right. She breathed slowly. She waited. She fired. Hit. The second target, moving right to left, faster than the first. She adjusted. She fired. Hit. The third target, zigzagging. She tracked it with her scope. She predicted where it would go. She fired. Hit. The fourth target, very fast, small, difficult. She led it by a small amount. She fired. Hit. The fifth target. It was moving in a strange pattern, up and down, left and right. Random movements that were hard to predict. Watched it for 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. She was running out of time. She fired. Hit. 5 out of 5. The range was silent. Everyone was staring at her. Smile was gone. Even Commander looked surprised. 5 perfect hits, Commander said. He checked his pad twice. 5 out of 5 with a projectile rifle. Stood up, she put her rifle back in its case. She walked back to her place without saying anything. Her face was calm, like nothing special had happened. Instructor was watching her. His white eyes did not move. He said nothing, but something in his face had changed. There was interest there now, attention. The test continued. Part 3 was coming. For Part 3, Commander announced, only recruits who scored 3 or higher in Part 2 may participate. The rest will observe. Most recruits were eliminated. Only about 20 remained. Was among them, so was. They moved to a different part of the range. Here, there was a special shooting platform. It faced a vast open area that stretched toward the horizon. In the distance, through the dust and wind, something was moving. The target. The target is 4.7 kilometers away, Commander said. It is moving in 3 dimensions. The wind speed is currently 47 kilometers per hour, with gusts up to 80. There is dust in the air that will affect visibility. The atmospheric pressure is falling because of the storm. He looked at the remaining recruits. You have 60 seconds from the moment you touch your weapon. 1 shot only. The first person to hit the target wins. Stepped forward immediately. I will go first. Commander nodded. Begin when ready. Took out his plasma rifle. It was beautiful. The metal was polished and bright. It had a large scope with digital displays. Small lights moved across its surface. It looked like something from the future. He lay down on the platform. He aimed at the distant target. Numbers appeared on his scope. Distance, wind speed, humidity, temperature. The rifle calculated everything automatically. He fired. A bright beam of plasma shot across the sky. It went far, very far, but the wind caught it. The beam curved slightly. It missed the target by several meters. "Miss," Commander said. His face became angry. He stood up and walked away without a word. The next recruit tried. Another miss, then another, and another. One by one, the best shooters in the academy tried and failed. The target was too far. The wind was too strong. The conditions were too difficult. After 15 failures, Commander looked at the remaining recruits. Anyone else? Stepped forward. Some aliens laughed. Others shook their heads. She was going to try with her primitive rifle. It did not even have a targeting computer. It was impossible. She walked to the platform. She set down her case. She opened it. Everyone watched as she took out her rifle. The old rifle, the scratched metal, the cloth wrappings, the worn scope. It looked so small compared to the plasma rifles. Lay down on the platform. She put the rifle to her shoulder. She pressed her eye to the scope. Through the lens, she saw the target. It was far away, very far. It was moving in small circles up and down, left and right. The dust made it hard to see. The wind was pushing against her. She began her calculations. Distance 4.7 kilometers. Bullet travel time at this distance, approximately 6.2 seconds. In 6.2 seconds, the target would move. There. Wind from the left at 52 kilometers per hour with gusts. Adjust aim 4.3 meters to the right. Gravity on this planet is 1.08 Earth standard. Bullet drop at this distance, 47 meters. Aim 47 meters above the target. Air density is higher here. Add 0.7 more meters to the right. The target is rising. It will be at its highest point in 4 seconds. Fire when ready. Everyone was watching her. The clock was running. 30 seconds passed. 40 seconds, 45. Some alien started to whisper. She was taking too long. She was going to run out of time. 50 seconds. Was not listening to them. She was not thinking about them. She was not thinking about anything except the target, the wind, and her breathing. 55 seconds. She breathed out, slowly, completely. Her body became still. Her mind became empty. There was nothing in the world except her finger and the trigger. 58 seconds. She fired. The sound of the gunshot echoed across the range. Everyone watched the sky. They could not see the bullet. It was too small and too fast. All they could do was wait. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. 4 seconds. 5 seconds. 6 seconds. On the display screen, the target turned red. Hit. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. The wind howled around them and the dust flew through the air, and everyone just stood there, staring at the screen, not believing what they had just seen. The human had hit an impossible target, with an old rifle, with no computer, with nothing but her eyes and her hands and her mind. Stood up, she picked up her rifle. She cleaned it with her cloth and put it back in its case. Then she walked back to her place, quiet and calm, like she had done nothing special at all. The silence on the range lasted for a long time. Nobody knew what to say. Nobody knew what to do. They had all just seen something that should have been impossible. Commander was the first to speak. He looked at his pad. He checked the numbers 3 times, then 4 times. His face showed confusion and something else, something like fear. "The shot is confirmed," he said finally. His voice was different now, less strong, less sure. "Target hit at 4.7 kilometers. Time of flight 6.21 seconds. Accuracy, center mass. The human passes part 3. Some recruits started whispering. Others were still silent, still staring at like she was something from another world. In a way, she was. Pushed through the crowd. His face was dark with anger. His yellow eyes burned. He stopped in front of and looked down at her. "That was luck," he said. His voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. "Nothing but luck. Anyone can get lucky once." Looked up at him, her face was still calm, still quiet. "If you say so." "I do say so," growled. "Your primitive weapon hit one target under perfect conditions. That means nothing. In real combat you would be dead in seconds." "Maybe," said, "we will see." His hands made fists. For a moment it looked like he was going to hit her. The other gathered behind him. They were ready to support him. But then a voice cut through the air. It was cold and sharp like a blade. "That is enough." Everyone turned. Instructor was walking toward them. His mechanical arm made small clicking sounds as he moved. His white eyes were fixed on. Stepped back immediately. Even he was afraid of Instructor. Everyone was. Instructor stopped between and he looked at the first. "You are son of General." "Yes," head instructor said. His voice was much softer now. "Your father was a good soldier," Instructor said. "I fought beside him in the war. He was brave, strong, honorable." He paused. He never made excuses when someone was better than him. His face turned gray. The words hit him harder than any punch. Instructor turned away from him. He looked at. His white eyes studied her face. "What is your name, human?" "Head instructor." "Just no family name." "Is enough." A small movement crossed Instructor's face. It might have been surprise. It might have been respect. It was hard to tell. "Your rifle," he said. "Show it to me." Opened her case. She took out her rifle and held it carefully in both hands. She did not give it to him. She just held it so he could see. Instructor leaned closer. His white eyes moved over every part of the weapon, the scratched metal, the worn wood, the cloth wrappings, the old scope. He looked at it for a long time without speaking. "This is very old," he said finally. "Yes, it was my grandfather's." "Your grandfather was a soldier." "Yes." "What kind of soldier?" Was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "The kind that never missed." Instructor made a sound. It was almost a laugh. "Almost. I can see that." He pointed to different parts of the rifle. "The barrel has been modified for longer range. The scope is not original. It has been replaced with something more precise. The trigger mechanism has been adjusted. The stock has been shaped for your body." "Yes," said. "My grandfather made most of these changes. I made some of them after he died." "You did this work yourself?" "Yes." Instructor nodded slowly. "And the shot you just made, the calculations, the timing, the adjustments for wind and gravity and atmosphere, did you do all of that in your head?" "Yes." "No computer, no assistance, just your mind?" "Yes." Instructor stood straight again. He looked at its face for a long moment. Then he turned to face the crowd of recruits. "Listen carefully," he said. His voice was not loud, but it carried across the range like thunder. "What you just saw was not luck. It was not an accident. It was skill, pure skill. The kind of skill that takes years to develop, decades, a lifetime." He pointed at his rifle. "Most of you think projectile weapons are primitive, old, useless. You think your plasma rifles and laser guns are better because they have computers and targeting systems and fancy lights." His white eyes swept across the crowd. Nobody moved, nobody breathed. "You are wrong," he said. "A computer can fail. A targeting system can be hacked. A power cell can run empty. But skill never runs out. Skill cannot be jammed or broken or stolen. Skill is forever." He paused. "This human just hit a target that none of you could hit. She did it with a weapon that most of you would throw away as garbage. She did it because she has something that machines cannot give you. She has mastery. She has patience. She has the ability to become one with her weapon and her target." Instructor looked at. "Your plasma rifle costs more money than most soldiers earn in 10 years, but money cannot buy what she has. Training cannot teach it in a few weeks. It must be earned, shot by shot, year by year. Said nothing, his face was red with shame. Instructor turned back to the crowd. Training is over for today. Go back to your barracks. Think about what you saw. Think about what it means. The recruits began to leave. They walked in small groups, talking quietly. Many of them looked at as they passed. Their faces were different now. The mockery was gone. In its place was something else. Confusion, respect, maybe even fear. The stopped next to. That was amazing, he said. I have never seen anything like it. Nodded, thank you. Will you teach me how to shoot like that? Looked at him, his four-armed body, his alien face, his honest eyes. It takes many years to learn, many more years to master. I have time. Something almost like a smile touched his lips. Then maybe we will see. Nodded and walked away. Soon was alone on the range, almost alone. Instructor was still standing nearby. He was watching her, waiting. Put her rifle back in its case. She closed it carefully. Then she stood and faced him. You have questions, she said. It was not a question. I do, Instructor said. Why did you come here, to the academy? You are already a master. You have nothing to learn from us about shooting. Was quiet for a moment. The wind blew around them. Dust danced in the air. My grandfather wanted me to come, she said finally. Before he died, he told me that Earth was just the beginning. He said that humans needed to prove themselves to the galaxy. He said that someone had to show them what we could do. So you came here to prove something? No, said. I came here to remember something. My grandfather used to say that true strength is quiet. It does not boast. It does not show off. It waits in the shadows until it is needed. Then it acts. One shot, one moment. That is all it takes. Instructor looked at her for a long time. His white eyes were unreadable. Then he nodded slowly. Your grandfather was wise, he said. He understood something that most soldiers never learn. What is that? Instructor turned and began to walk away. But before he left, he stopped and looked back over his shoulder. The most dangerous weapon in the galaxy is not a plasma rifle or a laser cannon or a nuclear bomb. It is a patient person with perfect aim. He paused. Remember that, little human, and know that I will be watching you. Then he was gone, walking into the dusty wind, his mechanical arm clicking softly with each step. Stood alone on the empty range. The sky was dark above her. The storm was getting closer. Lightning flashed in the distance. She picked up her rifle case and started walking back to the barracks. Her footsteps were soft on the metal ground. For the first time since arriving at the academy, she felt something warm in her chest. It was not pride. It was not satisfaction. It was something simpler and more powerful. It was peace. Her grandfather would have been proud. That was all that mattered. That was all that ever mattered. She walked through the wind and the dust, a small figure carrying an old case, and nobody laughed at her anymore. 1 month passed after the range test. Everything at the academy changed for her, but in some ways nothing changed at all. The other recruits treated her differently now. They did not laugh at her anymore. They did not call her weapon garbage. When she walked through the hallways, they moved out of her way. When she entered the dining hall, conversation stopped. They watched her with careful eyes, like they were watching something dangerous. Did not mind. She had never wanted their friendship or their approval. She only wanted to complete her training and honor her grandfather's memory. Avoided her now. When they passed each other, he looked away. His friends did the same. The mockery was gone, replaced by cold silence, preferred the silence. They became something like a friend. Every evening he came to the old practice range to learn from her. She taught him basic things at first. How to breathe, how to stand, how to hold steady when everything around you was chaos. You make it look so easy, said one night, after missing his 10th shot in a row. It is not easy, said. It took me years to learn what I know. When I was young, I missed more shots than you can count. How young were you when you started? 5 years old. My grandfather gave me my first rifle on my 5th birthday. It was a small one made for children. I could barely hold it. Shook his head in wonder. 18 years of practice. Moore said, I practiced every day, even when I was tired, even when I was sick, even when I wanted to do something else. That is what mastery costs: time, pain, sacrifice. Why asked, why did you give up so much? Was quiet for a long time. The stars were bright above them. Somewhere in that darkness was Earth, her home, her past. Because my grandfather believed in me, she said finally. Even when I did not believe in myself. He saw something in me that I could not see. He gave me everything he had. His knowledge, his time, his love. I practice every day because that is how I remember him. That is how I keep him alive. Nodded slowly. I think I understand. The final test of the academy was approaching. It was called the Trial of Fire. All recruits would be sent into a simulated battlefield. They would face enemy soldiers, dangerous terrain, and impossible situations. Only the ones who survived and completed their objectives would graduate. Everyone was nervous, everyone except. The night before the trial, she sat alone in the barracks, cleaning her rifle. The other recruits were talking and preparing. Some were praying to their gods. Others were writing letters to their families, just in case they did not survive. Just cleaned her rifle, slowly, carefully, like she always did. A shadow fell across her. She looked up. Instructor was standing there. Walk with me, he said. They walked out of the barracks together. The night was cold. 2 moons hung in the purple sky. They walked in silence for a while, past the training grounds, past the shooting ranges, until they reached a quiet spot on a small hill. Instructor looked out at the academy below. Lights moved in the darkness. Ships flew overhead. The universe went on forever in all directions. Tomorrow will be difficult, he said. The trial is designed to push recruits beyond their limits. Many will fail, some may die. I understand, said. I want you to lead a team. Was surprised. She did not show it on her face, but she felt it. Lead a team? I am not qualified for that. Yes, you are. Instructor turned to look at her. His white eyes glowed softly in the moonlight. I have been watching you since the range test. You are calm under pressure. You think clearly. You do not panic. These are the qualities of a leader. I am just a shooter, said. I work alone. You did work alone, on Earth, with your grandfather. Instructor's voice was softer now. But you are not on Earth anymore. In the galaxy, survival requires teamwork, trust, connection. You must learn to fight with others, not just by yourself. Was quiet. She thought about his words. She thought about her grandfather, who had always worked alone, who had always taught her to rely only on herself. But her grandfather was dead now, and she was here, in a universe full of strangers trying to find her place. Who will be on my team? She asked. I will let you choose. Pick anyone you want, 3 or 4 recruits. Said immediately, the instructor nodded. Good choice. He is loyal and strong. Who else? Thought about it. There is a name. She is quiet, keeps to herself, but I have watched her train. She is smart and careful. Anyone else? Hesitated. Then she said something that surprised even herself. Instructor's eyebrows rose. The one who mocked you, who called your weapon garbage. Yes. Why? Looked at the stars. Because he has something to prove. Because he is ashamed of how he acted. Because the best way to turn an enemy into an ally is to give them a chance to be something better. A sound came from Instructor. It might have been a laugh. Your grandfather taught you more than shooting. He taught me everything. Instructor nodded slowly. Very well, and your team, lead them well tomorrow. He started to turn away. Then he stopped. He reached into his coat and pulled out something small. He held it out too. It was a medal, old and worn, made of dark metal. On its face was a symbol she did not recognize. crossed rifles behind a single eye. "This is the mark of the silent," Instructor said. "It is given only to snipers who have proven themselves beyond doubt. Only 17 have ever earned it. Now there are 18. Took the medal. It was heavy in her hand. "I have not done anything to earn this yet." "You have," Instructor said. "You came here as an unknown, a human with an old rifle. Everyone mocked you. Everyone expected you to fail, but you did not fail. You waited, you watched, you learned. And when the moment came, you showed them all what true skill looks like." He paused. "That is what snipers do. We wait in the shadows. We watch while others act. We speak only when our voice matters, and when we speak, we are heard." Looked at the medal, at the crossed rifles, at the single eye. "Only snipers carry weapons like yours," Instructor said. "Weapons that require no computer, no power cell, no assistance. Only the shooter, only their hands and eyes and mind. That is the form of our art. That is what makes us different from every other soldier." He placed his mechanical hand on shoulder. It was cold and heavy. "Tomorrow you will fight. You will lead. You will face things that will test everything you are, but I have no doubt that you will succeed, because you are not just a soldier. You are a sniper, and snipers do not fail." He removed his hand and stepped back. "Good luck, I will be watching." Then he turned and walked away into the darkness. His footsteps faded. Soon was alone on the hill. She stood there for a long time, holding the medal, looking at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth. Her grandfather was buried there, in a small cemetery near the mountains where they used to practice. She closed her eyes. She could see his face, hear his voice, feel his hand on her shoulder, teaching her to aim, teaching her to breathe, teaching her to wait. "I made it, grandfather," she whispered. "I made it to the stars." The wind carried her words away. The two moons watched in silence. Tomorrow would come. The trial would begin. She would lead her team into fire and danger. She would show them all what she was made of. But for now she just stood there, a small human on a small hill, on a world far from home, holding a medal that meant everything and nothing. She was not just any more. She was not just the girl with the old rifle. She was a sniper. She was a leader. She was a symbol of what humanity could be. And this was only the beginning. She put the medal in her pocket, picked up her rifle case, and walked back to the barracks. Tomorrow was waiting. She would be ready. She always was.